Hello there, Christine here at the Craft Table with my weekly update for you. Today is Monday, January 5th, 2026. So welcome to the new year, and we are excited to be here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me on my channel. Hopefully you will enjoy the content. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. And let's talk about health and crochet. And today it's going to be mostly about health because I haven't been doing very much crocheting this week. I'm not sure why, but that's just the way it worked out. So let's get to it. This week, as you know, I've been on a weight loss journey, and thankfully the scale moved in the right direction this week. I lost 1.2 pounds, and that brings me to 206.6. That was yesterday morning. So we're happy about that. An insight I did have, though, reviewing I weigh myself every morning, and just looking at the little jump I had at the end of the year, like Christmas week, and the things I had been eating that week on my food log, it was so obvious what had happened. I mean, it was the week that we consumed a box of See's candy. I made a quick bread that was delicious that we also ate entirely, a banana chocolate chip bread, and I also had some other chocolates, candy bars, and boy, I jumped about 5 pounds on the scale in 1 week. So, I mean, I know from many years of history that can happen, but when you just see it so clearly, that over those few couple days, and had I continued on that path, I mean, the scale would have never come back down, and I would have just continued gaining. And it's so easy to gain weight, honestly. The body is just looking for those pounds or the water weight or whatever it was holding on to that week. Yeah. So lesson learned, we'll see. We shall see. I continue struggling with tight hamstrings ever since I started exercising. I guess I'm not stretching enough or drinking enough water. Somewhere I read that a little bit of baking soda, like a 1/4 teaspoon or 1/8 of a teaspoon a day, could help reduce extra soreness from a buildup of like lactic acid in your joints or something. I'm not sure. I'm still trying the stretching. I know I'm not stretching enough. I mean, some people say to do the stretches 3 times a day to loosen up those muscles, and yeah, haven't been. And so I wake up every morning, honestly, barely able to move my legs. I have to spend a good 20 minutes stretching before I can function. Also, my elbow joints, and that has never bothered me ever. But yeah, elbow joints, knee joints, and well, stiff neck I've dealt with all my life. So anyhow, still dealing with that. But it's a small price to pay for gaining some strength and feeling more fit, definitely. Like my breathing when I walk, when I do my shopping or have to do anything strenuous, I definitely have more stamina, I know, so that's a good thing. What else about this week? Oh, I asked last week if anybody was interested in my continuing reporting on my health, because it's been so slow going, and it's kind of for the last 6 months been up 2 pounds, down 1 pound, up 3 pounds, down 2 pounds. I mean, it's just been constant like that. So much so that I lost a total of 3 pounds over 6 months. And one person commented to keep going, and so I will. I know I don't have a huge viewership here, so, but you know what? If I can make the difference, be encouraging to one or two people, that's cool for me. You know, those are two lives that I wouldn't have access to otherwise if you weren't watching YouTube. So I will share my tips and insights and my failures as well, because I'm real, and I'm not going to try and portray some vision of success that does not exist here in my life as far as weight has been concerned. I mean, hopefully over time we will see some progress in the right direction, but it's going to take effort. It's going to take lots of effort, and just rewiring this brain of mine to do life differently than I have been in the past. On that note, one thing that I have been doing well lately is, or consistently, I don't think there's a grade you give yourself on it, but is spending time in the Word and in the Bible every morning, meditating on it, reading it, and prayer. And that just sets me up for the day and helps me start out with the right attitude. And even I've started, like sometimes, you know, when you wake up in the morning, usually it's the dogs waking me up because they want something, or they think that's enough sleep for you, get up. And my temptation is to grumble and to, you know, shoo them out and give myself a few more minutes. But I immediately started turning on some praise music and just changed the thought process in my head from grumbling and complaining to praising the Lord, because I have the ability to get out of that bed in the morning. I have the ability to walk and breathe, and I have these two precious dogs that are really great companions, and they make me laugh, and they honestly help me not sit for too long, because about every hour, hour and a half, they're over here making me get up for one reason or another, and that's a good thing for me. And I'm just so thankful, and I have so much to be thankful for. So there's no reason to grumble. There's no reason to get up all cranky because, well, just because I feel like complaining. So the praise music helps, because immediately there's positive words in those songs, and changing my focus, changing my the words going on in my head. And eventually I'm singing with the song, and that is a good thing. Yes, I may not feel it immediately, but the feelings come with the action. So I'm enjoying that, and that's a good tool. It's, yeah, enough said. I could go on and on. All right, so the Bible time has been working for me. And one change that I am making this year kind of happened accidentally. I like to start a Bible reading plan every year. Been doing it for a few years. And I decided to read the actual hard Bible instead of something online this year. And the Bible that I'm currently using has a reading plan in the back, and it has a portion of text for the morning and for the evening. So you end up starting the day and finishing the day in the Word. And I think that's good. I think that's great for my mindset. It puts me in that place of thankfulness, and also remembering people in prayer before I fall asleep. I liked it. I like that. And so I'm trying to keep up with that. That's a great plan. And, you know, it lays it out all for you, dividing up, you know, the monumental text of the Bible in some very doable portions. And even splitting up the morning and the evening so that you're not having to read 5 chapters at a time. You're maybe reading 2 and then 3, or even a portion of 1 the other day. And I think it was 3 in the evening. So yeah, good stuff. And like I've spoken before, it's part of that rewiring my brain to think about what is good and positive and beautiful and helpful and praiseworthy, and to fill my mind with those things. And what it accomplishes is it actually crowds out the negative stuff because you're thinking about the good stuff. So it takes less effort to block out the negative stuff when you're just automatically filling your mind with the positive stuff. It's kind of like eating. I'll talk about it in a little bit, but I started incorporating chia seeds into my diet recently, just the past week. And they fill me up so that I'm not looking for something else. And kind of the same with the word. It's filling up my mind with the good thoughts, and they crowd out the bad thoughts, the negative thoughts. So yeah, 2 good things. Let's see. So yeah, so I will continue to talk about my health journey. The Bible is working for me. The food log, I also was a little bit better this week about keeping that. And it's helpful because, like I said, I could go back and look at that 1 week and see exactly what steered me wrong. I have been continuing to experiment with some new recipes from faithfulworkouts.com. Great resource. Let's see, what did I cook this week? I wrote it down for you. I tried a baked cod, which was rubbed with olive oil, ginger, and garlic. And it was served with sauteed spinach and brown rice. And I have to say, I was not really impressed. The more recipes I try, I am finding a few that I do not particularly like for one reason or another. And the baked cod it lacked flavor to me. I don't know. I think it had no salt. Maybe that's just what I needed to add. I did add salt to the spinach, and I think some Mrs. Zest to the brown rice, but I don't think I would seek that out again. It was the first time I'd ever eaten cod, and eating fish takes effort for me, except for salmon. I really enjoy a nice broiled salmon, but anyhow. That was one of the meals. And then we did baked chicken thighs on a cookie sheet with a rack underneath the chicken, so it's not actually touching the cookie sheet. They came out so nice and crispy. They had the skin on and they were bone in. They were juicy on the inside, and that skin was just so nice and crispy. This was actually a recipe I found. I think it was on allrecipes.com, maybe. I don't remember. I just searched online for baked chicken thighs because one of my Faithful Workouts recipes was tarragon chicken. And so that's why I had the chicken thighs on hand in the first place. But when I placed my grocery order, fresh tarragon was one of the things that they were out of stock on. And don't you just love that you don't know they're out of stock until you're there picking up your order, or maybe an hour before they tell you, oh, by the way, we're not going to fulfill this item. Anyhow, pet peeve of mine with picking up groceries. So I didn't have the tarragon, which is the main ingredient of that recipe. So then I thought, well, I'll just bake the chicken thighs with another recipe, and that's how I came upon this one. And I think you baked them at either 400 or 425 degrees, and it was 35 minutes, and I just had 4 of them. The front 2 were ready right at 35 minutes. You use the meat thermometer, and for the chicken thighs, they said 185 degrees. Usually for chicken, I think it's 165. But 185 was perfect for the chicken thighs. They were juicy on the inside and crispy on the outside, like I said. And the spice rub was just salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. And I mixed them all together, and then I rubbed them on or sprinkled them, I think. Yeah, I just sprinkled them on both sides of the chicken. And left the skin on. The skin was delicious. Yeah, easy recipe. I will do that again. And let's see. Oh, we had oatmeal, regular oatmeal with peanut butter and flaxseed. And then when it's ready, you add fresh banana. I really enjoyed that oatmeal. It was so delicious. It wasn't at all sweet. Well, the banana adds a little bit of sweetness, but not like, you know, you're not adding brown sugar or maple syrup or any of that. But the peanut butter added such a nice, you'd run into little bits of the peanut butter, you know, if you don't stir it in entirely. And just a great breakfast, very satisfying. My husband even ate it, and that's a good thing. He doesn't always eat the breakfasts. Usually if they contain any yogurt or things like that, he'll pass. But he liked the oatmeal. So I made it like twice, 2 or 3 times, and I will make that again, definitely. I might sprinkle on a few dried cranberries now and then. I think that would give it just that little bit of extra sweetness, but I really didn't need it. The peanut butter did the job. And I think it was actually supposed to be almond butter, but I didn't have any almond butter at the time, so I used peanut butter. Let's see. We had zucchini cakes with tomato and basil. This was a failure. Just be honest with you. It was too fussy, for one thing. And I don't know, I guess I got my portions off because I was trying to make a little bit more. It only called for 2 eggs for 2 people, and I wanted a little more protein than that. So I did 4 eggs, 2 eggs for each of us. And that might have thrown the zucchini off because I used the amount of zucchini, or just a little bit over, that she said to use. Basically, you chopped up the zucchini and you put the zucchini and the eggs in a blender. And maybe I blended it too long, so it was too watery. Anyhow, it was not going to make cakes in my pan. It kind of just poured in the can like a scrambled, or poured in the pan like a scrambled egg. And so I had this giant, I don't know, giant pancake. But also it called for a pan that you could put in the oven, because after cooking it with the lid on it for, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes, then it called for you to take the lid off and put it in the broiler for a few minutes to brown the top. Or until it's set. And my pan doesn't go from oven to or from stovetop to oven. I don't have one that does. So the whole thing was off. And it was just so much fuss, you know. I didn't like that part of it. I like zucchini, I like eggs. Just give me a scrambled egg with sauteed zucchini and tomatoes on the side, and I would have been totally happy. And none of this blender, you have to dirty the blender. Yeah, it was too much. It was too much. And then the flavor, it wasn't there. Maybe I didn't, sometimes she says salt and pepper to taste. Well, you're not going to taste it raw. I'm not going to taste raw eggs. So I add the salt, and I guess I didn't. I added the regular salt for 4 eggs, but I didn't account for the zucchini. So 2 cups of zucchini without salt. I guess that was, yeah, wasn't a good result. And I love zucchini. It was zucchini, tomato, and eggs. How could you go wrong? And basil. And then she had you use basil. She called for fresh basil. I didn't have any fresh. She said you could use dried, use half the amount, but you only put it on the tomatoes, and you put the tomatoes on after everything was done. So the basil was kind of dry, and maybe I put too much, and the tomatoes were a little cold from being in the fridge. So yeah, cold tomatoes mixed with basil on top of a scrambled egg, a green scrambled egg because of the zucchini. It wasn't appetizing to look at, and it wasn't a good texture in your mouth. It was everything went wrong. Enough about that recipe. I'm sorry. I guess I didn't have anybody else to complain to. I'm complaining to you. I will really enjoy, like I said, just scrambling the eggs and then sauteing. That's usually how I cook zucchini, is I'll chop it and saute it in olive oil in a pan on the stove, add some cherry tomatoes halved, and then cover it with some kind of cheese. But not always. We don't always. Sometimes it's just the tomato and the zucchini, and it's delicious. So I'll do that with my zucchini next time. I actually have 2 more zucchini in the fridge, so hopefully they will last for 4 days, and I will make them then. Let's see, because of what I'll share in a few minutes. Next, we had sweet potatoes with black beans. It was sweet potato and black bean stuffed peppers. Again, too fussy. I'm not into these fancy presentations. Just chop up the pepper and give it to you. So, yeah. It was a good flavors though this time. It was a good flavor combination. So if I try it again, I will use the same ingredients, but I will skip halving the peppers and putting them in the oven for 10 minutes to cook the peppers so that they're cooked but still crunchy. And then you have to mix the whole other mixture separate. You're baking the sweet potatoes first, and then you mash them or peel them and mash them. Combine them with black beans, what else? Cumin, green onions, sliced thin, chili powder, and green chilies. So all of the ingredients were good together. I didn't even mind the green onions, I guess because they were sliced so thin. The sweet potatoes added a wonderful flavor. But again, it was all the fuss. The black beans had to be drained and rinsed. So you mashed everything else together, and then after baking the bell peppers for 10 minutes, you stuff them, and then you put them back in the oven at a lower temperature to heat everything through. Too much fuss. Yeah. I was thinking I would and I added ground beef for some extra protein. Cooked ground beef to the mixture before stuffing the peppers. But too many dishes. And the peppers. I was going to, if I make it again, just chop up the green peppers and cook them with the ground beef, but I really liked the fact that the green peppers were not totally soft. They actually still had crunch to them, so it was a nice counterpart to all the mushy stuff that was inside the bell pepper. So somehow I would again add the green peppers at the end so that you get that crunch, because that was nice. Otherwise, the rest of it was all kind of mashed together. For texture purposes. But again, the flavors were good. So that's a recipe that I will probably make again without all the fussing of the stuffing of the peppers and using so many dishes. Lastly, I tried a tropical overnight oatmeal that was okay. It was coconut milk, plain Greek yogurt, uncooked oats, blueberries, a handful of blueberries, strawberries, and unsweetened shredded coconut. The only problem I had with this recipe was you put everything together in a mason jar except for the coconut and put it in the fridge overnight so that the oats would soften up. I've done that before, and I think for me, something in the ratios of this recipe was off because it came out kind of watery. Oh, so I added the coconut last. It called for shredded coconut, and all I have is unsweetened coconut flakes. So they're a little bit bigger, I guess, than shredded coconut. And by adding them last, they were still kind of hard when I ate the whole thing. So for me, I would add the coconut that I have, I would add it the night before as well. So that it actually, I've done it with other yogurt breakfasts, and it stays pretty chewy. The flakes do. You could tell it's the coconut flakes in there. So yeah, but the flavor was acceptable. Not real sweet, but I'm finding that it's good not to have a real sweet breakfast because it fills you up, but it doesn't set you up to, you know, want something else sweet in a couple hours. That like sweets tend to do to me. I continue exercising every day using my iWatch rings. I've been closing them every day, so that was wonderful. I ended up closing December having met the rings every day but 2 days in December, so that was pretty cool. And January, I'm not sure how I'm gonna do, again, because something that's coming up tonight. I don't know if I will close the rings exercising for the next few days, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Starting tonight, I'm doing a 72-hour water fast with Dr. Mindy Pels, and I'm looking forward to this. I'm hoping that it helps with my joint pain and just kind of resets my body, helps me do some healing in my body, and maybe gives me a little jump start on the weight loss for the year. So that's what I'm hoping to get out of it. A fast is really nice too because you don't have to think about food at all. And there's something really, you just have so much time in the day because you're not thinking or preparing or cleaning up after food. And I warned my husband so he can pick up a family meal to tide him through the next few days. The fast is water only, but you are allowed black coffee and black tea, unsweetened, of course. And if you get into a bind, you can have a cup of bone broth when you feel, if you feel, you know, like you can't take it anymore and you're dying of hunger. You're not dying, but if you feel like you're gonna quit, she says that's okay. A couple of other things she recommends if you feel like you're, you know, ready to quit. Have a couple of olives or a little avocado. These things won't take you out of the fasting mode. So I'm excited to start that. And before that, I will have a nice high protein meal to fill me up before, and I should actually go and do that soon because it's already 4:42 and we are to start after dinner tonight. Yeah, so that's exciting. And I will put a link to her latest video on that. Actually, I don't think it's on. It's an unlisted video. You have to join. But I'll put a link to Dr. Mindy's channel if you want to check out her fast. She has a ton of fasting videos on her channel. It's something that she does every year. She's conducted fasts every year for years now and has patients that she guides through it. And so it's not a new thing for her. I've done I did a longer fast last January where I was just doing water and coffee and a cup of bone broth in the evening. And I can't remember how long I went. It was longer than 3 days, I think. I can't remember. Yes, I was going for the 21-day fast, the Daniel fast. I didn't quite make it the 21 days. I think I was at at about 19, I quit. But it really helped jumpstart my weight for the year. It did, my weight loss for the year. I will end my talk on health now and just give you a quick review of what I crocheted, because there isn't much. I worked on my gingham blanket. And here's where I'm at on that. Maybe you can tell the difference. So we've got 1, 2, 3. I'm on section 4. Probably about a third of the way through that. And then I have one more section of blocks to go and a border. I have not been working on this as much as I had planned to. I just get tired of a project, I think. And it always happens to me. So there's that. And then I did finish one of my socks and started the next one. These were supposed to be my Christmas socks, but I didn't finish them for Christmas. Where are you? Here. So here's the finished one. Isn't that cute? They are adorable. I love this colorway. And here is the beginning of the next one. And that is where I'm at with my socks. Lastly, I did start yesterday a headband. This is a winter headband by Daisy Farm Crafts, and she did hers with a new yarn that's out by Bernat, but this is a 4-weight 50% merino wool and 50% Pima cotton. So 50-50 cotton and wool. This was a bargain bin find at Bago de Crochet's Etsy store, where she is selling hand-dyed yarn now. And her only reason for putting it in the bin, she said, was it was a base that she was not going to be carrying, and it might have some knots in the skeins. It was a 3-pack of, so 3 skeins in one big ball. So I just took one of the skeins and balled it up. And I have that much left, hopefully enough to finish the headband. It's a total of 654 yards, so one skein should have been 19 yards, something like that. Or 200, sorry. 200 and something yards. Whatever 54 divided by 3 is. Almost 220 yards. I love the color, or the stitch pattern. It's just a double crochet, but you do it in between the posts, not in the stitches, which makes it very easy to work on. Anytime I feel like crocheting, but I don't want to look at a pattern, this is what I grab. And this is what I've been working on. It has to be 21 inches before you twist it and join it. So it's very easy, and I'm probably a little over halfway, I think. So one of those things where you see a pattern and you really want to try it. That's what happened with this. I saw her video, and I really liked the look of the headband and thought it would be perfect for when you don't want to wear a full beanie. Sometimes beanies give me headaches. So I thought this headband would be cute and warm. And I thought of this yarn because I've been wanting to try the yarn. I bought 2 of her 3 skein packs from her bargain bin, and the other one is in green. But I thought this blue would probably be nice and versatile. and would match my jacket. So there we have it. And that's crochet. Did I go over everything? Yes, 3 projects. So hopefully you've enjoyed the update. And can I share one more thing with you? This is something from Dr. Lee Warren. He puts out a free newsletter that I subscribe to. And he gave 5 things that are true. And he talks a lot about rewiring your brain, teaching your brain a different path than the path it's been on, in my case, for 60 years. As far as, my going to food for other reasons than hunger. So these are 5 things that are true. And it's all about, he's talking more about not just weight loss, but any habits that you are trying to kick, or places where you feel stuck emotionally or psychologically. His whole thing is you can renew your mind, as the scripture says. He is a neurosurgeon, and he says there are actual pathways in the brain that get established by your habits. And these can be rewired, so to speak, where the brain only looks for the most efficient way to do things. And if your habit is going to the pantry every time you get emotional, then your brain will just automatically take you there every time you feel emotional or bored or frustrated, whatever the case may be. For me, I realized that it was stress, because I was always a high achiever, so to speak, in school. My goal was straight A's, and I usually got them. But it was very stressful. And my reward, whenever I had to do something difficult or had a hard day at school, was food, was rewarding myself with treats. And of course, you're not going to choose healthy foods to reward yourself. No, it was the junk food. And, a good meal was a reason or a celebration was a reason to have a good meal, or a fattening meal, or say that there are pathways in my brain that are very well established. And when I get stressed, I find myself in the kitchen, just perusing to see what there is tasty to eat and satiate and self-medicate, whatever you want to call it. That's what I do. So I've really found Dr. Warren to be interesting and helpful, and I'm kind of gobbling up everything that he prints out there to learn how to put that scripture into practice and renew my mind when it comes to food. So he gave 5 things that are true recently in an email. And so I wrote them down. Number 5, nothing changes until you change something. Some of these sound really like, okay, that's common sense, but they make sense. Our brains automate what we repeat. We need to interrupt the old pattern. And the verse, Romans 12:2, says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And Dr. Warren is teaching us how to renew that mind. I love that verse, and I always prayed that I could do it, but I never knew the mechanics of it. How do I renew my mind? Other than reading the Bible, but I couldn't quite connect the reading of the Bible to the walking to the pantry. And I realized recently that, and I mentioned this here, that when I am in my daily Bible study, I don't get as tempted, but I couldn't figure out why. And so he's kind of connecting the dots for me. It's fascinating. Number 4, no one else can change you or keep you from changing. Big one, because sometimes it's people that frustrate me and I end up in the kitchen. Others can influence you, hurt you, and disappoint you, but they cannot control what you do with your mind. Top-down control, attention, and intention shape the brain over time. Isaiah 26:3, God will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you. It's all related. 3, You're not stuck because of something or someone outside of you. Feeling stuck is real. Being stuck is not permanent. Feelings are not facts. That's a biggie. Just because I'm feeling something, worry, anxiety, doesn't mean I have a legitimate thing to be anxious or worried about. It's just what I'm feeling. But yes, I'm feeling it. But they're not facts. They're feelings. They are chemical events that are going on in our brain. 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. We just need to tap into that. You are not broken. Your brain has simply learned some habits that can be unlearned. That is hope for me, big time. Number 2, what happened in the past does not have the power over your future. Memory is not a recording, it is a reconstruction. It is filtered through your present perspective. Isaiah 43:18 and 19. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Who's I? God. God is doing a new thing. Healing does not require erasing the past. It requires reframing it, looking at it differently. I love this. Yes, the past shaped me, but it doesn't have to determine my future path. Number 1, you already have what you need to heal, grow, and change. Yes, God designed your brain with neuroplasticity. You'll hear that term a lot from Dr. Warren. He gave you attention, intention, and choice. I have a choice. 2 Peter 1:3. His divine power, God's divine power, has given us everything we need for a godly life. That is truth right there. I don't know why I forget it and why I'm begging. He says you don't need to become someone else. You need to become more intentional about who you already are. Just a beautiful truth. I don't have to beg God for strength. I don't have to beg him for peace. It's already mine as his child. I just have to avail myself of it. Oh, was it him that told the story? Someone recently told the story of, let me see if I can remember this right. A wealthy man had a son who ran away from home, who left home. And this man searched and searched for his son. His whole life became searching for his son, and he couldn't find him. He couldn't find him anywhere. One day he's walking through a train station, about to get on a train, and he sees this beggar on the side with his hand out asking for money from people. And he's ragged and, looks horrible. But there's something familiar about him. So he walks up to him and he realizes it's his lost son. And the man puts out his hand and asks for some change or something. And this wealthy man turns to him and says, "You're my son. Everything I have is yours." And that's the way it is with us and God sometimes. Everything he has is ours. We have everything we need for life and godliness. But we just don't ask. We're sitting there trying to feast on crumbs when he has everything laid out for us. And food was the wrong analogy, but we're thinking we are so lacking when we are not in truth. And I'll just leave you with that. Have a beautiful day and a beautiful week, and I will see you next time, Lord willing. God bless you.